Welcome to the Temple of Trial. The goal of this project was to create an intense obstacle course with an intriguing ancient temple theme, where a contestant would never know what awaits him in the next room. Each room or obstacle will be divided into 4 sections. Inspiration, the creative idea or spark that inspired it. Level design, how we designed the level. Player reactions, once it was finished, how did people react? And programming, which will be explained by my friend here.
I am the Temple of Trial's secondary game designer and programmer. My primary focus was the execution of the Temple's automated systems. Using redstone, Minecraft's equivalent to electricity, the Temple of Trial is given the ability to include mechanics that are otherwise impossible, such as the manipulation of block position to create moving doors, walls, and ceilings, as well as the direct activation of automated devices, including lights, doors, a timer, and other traps, such as this purely cosmetic hallway of arrow traps. This redstone is the inconspicuous backbone of the temple, masked and contained within the walls of the course in order to present a fully functional and uncluttered course.
This is the first real room, so the goal was to set the tone for the rest of the course, but at the same time, not make something too complicated right at the beginning. I wanted this room to appear very straightforward. You come up to a pit of lava and platforms leading to a similar doorway at the other side. It only makes sense that it would be the route you take, right? But then, what's that less obvious doorway down there? If someone goes for the big obvious exit on the other side, oops. The real exit is a less obvious door down there. It gives them an idea of what to expect from the rest of the course. That the answer is not always as obvious as it seems. Despite the trap's simplicity, it seemed to catch them every time, even if they did notice the small door first.
This first room is, as with the design, also intended to be very simple from a programming standpoint. The room functions almost entirely without redstone circuitry altogether. The only exception to this is the fake exit's booby trap, which uses a simple circuit to create the desired effect. The player crosses a tripwire spanning across the entire room in order to reach the platform connected to the fake exit, which, in turn, triggers hidden pistons to extend and force the wall out, causing the player to plummet into the lava below.
Once you know what to do in the previous room, it's kinda short. This next part was to add just a little bit of difficulty and length to the end of it. Before they get to the next checkpoint, players must navigate this corridor with lava along the walls. A few feet in, you reach a fork in the road. One way leads to the checkpoint, the other to a dead end. I made the dead end route look easier at first glance, thinking it would make it seem more inviting to the player. I thought this would only slightly raise the chances of someone taking the dead end route. But after watching a good number of people do the course, all but one person took the dead end route first. Checkpoint reached. First challenge passed. Now we wanted to start challenges that were more than just jumps and platforming. We wanted to make levels that took skill as well as your brain. First, you're directed to a lever and given a sword. When the lever is pulled, rows of switches are revealed, along with spider spawners. Players must fight through the spiders while looking for the switch that opens the door. Contestants are always surprised to see the spiders. They frantically flip switches quick as they can, preferring to run from the spiders instead of fight them. We always reset the room each time the player dies, so they must remember which switches they tried already, unless they're lucky.
The crawling hall features a more complex system of redstone circuitry designed to control the access given to the challenger as he attempts the room. The lever located at the beginning of this hallway performs two crucial functions. It controls these pistons, which can seal and reveal all of the levers, and also control the pistons below, which connect the hallway to the adjacent spider nests. Taking a look under the hood, the circuitry of the course reveals a stream of redstone circuits, which provide power to all of the pistons throughout the stage. Some signals are sent to cancel out others, which ultimately allow the pistons to extend throughout the room.
With this next one, I wanted to give our contestants something different. A type of challenge they just weren't used to. The idea was a vertical maze. You have to navigate a complex network of vines going up a long vertical mine shaft. Of course, I quickly remembered that vines grow and spread, so eventually the wall would just be covered in vines. So instead I opted for ladders. Players have to climb and jump in all directions to eventually find their way to one of the paths that lead to the top. All the while, the spider pit waiting below for potential slip-ups. Only one path, however, that leads to the top doesn't immediately push you back off. You can usually catch the ladder before you fall, so it isn't too cool. Players certainly found it to be challenging. As I thought, they weren't used to something like this. Some players adapted to the rules of this unfamiliar challenge faster than others.
Crawl or Fall returns to the use of a redstone-activated wall trap, which pushes the challenger off the ledge as soon as the pressure plates are activated. This mechanic is incorporated throughout the room, on all sides except for the way out, using a relatively simple circuit which responds directly to the pressure plate to power each piston simultaneously.
So far, the obstacles have been kinda brutal, quick to dish out death for a single mistake. Once again, I wanted something different, for the next challenge to be more than just avoiding death. It would be a test of their mind, will, and sanity. The concept was simple. A grid of holes lies before you. Each hole leads to another hole, except for the one correct one. Once armed with this knowledge, one should be able to memorize which holes are duds and find the exit rather quickly. In theory, of course. It proved to challenge players a lot more than I thought it would. There was no pattern to help predict which holes were connected to which. Going down here and coming up there in such random spots seemed to really disorient most people, making it harder to remember which holes they had already been in. I'd frequently see people walk right past the correct exit hole just to repeat a hole they've already tried. What really throws them off is when they finally go down the correct hole only to find a room that looks exactly like the first, but with the holes connecting tunnels being altered. It always threw off even the smartest contestants before they realized it was a different room. And those who didn't figure that out right away became even more confused about the tunnels being different. There are only two places you can actually die here, but for some, this was the hardest challenge. At this point, we already knew what we wanted for the final obstacle, but we wanted one more ancient temple-esque challenge before that. We wanted to make a classic temple scenario, where of all the buttons, only one opens up the exit and all the rest bring the ceiling closer. Just what you'd expect, actually. Though they don't always notice the ceiling coming down right away, they certainly feel the pressure once they do.
Calamity's walls easily contains the most complex redstone circuit incorporated in the Temple of Trial. Despite what might seem like a simple concept, wiring the buttons to do all that they do proved to require a lot of work. Under the hood reveals a mess of redstone. Each button is connected to a line of redstone which runs forward and activates each of the pistons on the ceiling, causing them to push cobblestone blocks down, while simultaneously causing additional pistons to block the buttons so as to slow the challenger's pace at pressing buttons. Above the course utilizes a two-fold circuit as well as basic cobblestone generator using particular placement of lava and water. The circuit continuously pushes cobblestone blocks down and then out to refill the ceiling after it has been pushed down. Finally, one of the buttons, in addition to controlling all of the pistons, is wired to a piston-operated door which temporarily exposes the exit should the player press the correct button. Altogether, this stage requires an extensive amount of redstone to operate, and functions as the game's most inconspicuously programmed stage.
We wanted a true final challenge, one that would require strategy and skill, along with keen observation and some luck. It was designed to be an arena in which you must survive hordes of zombies for a set period of time. We accomplished this by adding a lever. When this lever is pulled, the lights holding off the spawner turn off, and the zombies start coming. The puzzle part of this is that there is a chest under the lever. They must notice that when the lights are off, bones are added to the chest automatically. They must then correlate that with the hint in the beginning. The key will eventually reveal itself to those who are worthy. The key, which turns out to be a button, eventually appears in the chest, which can be used to open the door. Similar to the crawling hall, progress is reset upon death, which means they must start over every time they die. As always, each person has their own spin on it, but there's generally two strategies we've observed. Slow and steady, where they turn the light off then back on again, handle the zombies that appear, catch their breath, and do it again. Or all at once, where they just leave the light off the whole time to run from or fight all of them at once.
The Swarm Arena is programmed in such a way that all redstone operations are controlled by the single lever accessible to the player. The lever performs two functions. The first is to deactivate the redstone circuit spanning across both sides of the stage. Once deactivated, all redstone-powered lamps within the room will shut off, allowing for zombies to spawn. Simultaneously, the switch deactivates a redstone torch, which overrides another redstone circuit controlling the functionality of this hopper, a device which filters in items into the chest below one at a time. This hopper acts as a stand-in for a timer, providing a delay before presenting the challenger with the key needed to operate the doors and escape the final stage.
Those who make it this far find themselves at just about the end of their journey. Upon their final ascension, the hero is welcomed to the Conqueror's Shrine. Comparable to that of a throne, it sits high above the clouds, watching over the rest of the world. Players see the view from atop this elegant structure and can't help but feel a mixture of both relief and accomplishment. When they're ready, they take the minecart down to the final room, where we record their username and how many times they died before completing the course. If you have questions about this video or the Temple of Trial, feel free to contact me. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.